on, everyone? Kyrie Irving is very likely going to the Lakers. Me personally, I think it's happening. I am about as close as you can get to 100% without being at 100%, 99.99%. I just never believe anything's really 100%, especially in the game of basketball and just sports in general. But I think the writing's on the wall. The based on all the reports, Kyrie Irving isn't signing an extension with the Brooklyn Nets no matter what. Even if Brooklyn does decide to give him the full max, here you go. Based on reports, he's done. He feels too slighted. He's done with Brooklyn, and he just wants to be elsewhere, which I don't blame him. I mean, all they did was just crucify the guy, ridicule the guy. The owner talked about how, much of a POS he is, and just all of that stuff. It's at what point does Kyrie go, okay, enough's enough? I'm sick of it. And Brooklyn, I don't even think really wants Kyrie Irving. Brooklyn had every opportunity to just pay the man his money, give the man his money, and they've refused every step of the way. And so I don't see them all of a sudden going, okay, yeah, let's do that, right? So Kyrie Irving to the Lakers, I think, is the most likely scenario. I'm not really worried about any other teams. I know that there are several other teams that are being rumored and reported to potentially want Kyrie Irving, but team like Dallas, the front offices are at a split where they don't think that Kyrie Irving is the right move because of his personality and Luka Doncic. Also, would Kyrie Irving want to go play with the most ball-dominant just player in the league, right? The highest usage rate, one of the highest in NBA history. Like, does Kyrie really want to play second fiddle to that? I don't really know. Maybe he does, but I don't really see it. And I don't think that Dallas has a lot of stuff that the Brooklyn Nets would be like, oh, that's what we need. That's what we want. Miami, I don't think Miami has a chance whatsoever. Like, why would the Brooklyn Nets want Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson? Like, they really want to pay Kyle Lowry $30 million a year? That's not going to happen. I don't see Miami. Clippers, I know a lot of people are worried about the Clippers. I don't see that either. One, why would Kyrie want to go to the Clippers when he could go to LA? LA is just a much more better fit. The Lakers, are a much more better fit than Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Kyrie Irving. And the Clippers, why would the Clippers really want Kyrie Irving? I think that they would want him just for the sake of hey, let's keep Kyrie from the Lakers and we have him with the name on the jersey. But it doesn't make any sense. Their problem is they need a facilitating point guard, not another upgraded Reggie Jackson. Right? Reggie Jackson is a poor man's Kyrie Irving, and John Wall's playing like a poor man's Reggie Jackson this year. It makes no sense for the Clippers to go and get Kyrie Irving. It makes no sense for Kyrie to go to the Clippers when he could just go to the Lakers and play with a guy that he knows he works well with, has won a championship with, is willing to let him take a back seat. It just, no matter how you shake it, it just makes sense. And then the Phoenix Suns, why in the world would the Brooklyn Nets want Chris Paul and all his money? Right? And what, are you trading Bridges and Ayton to go get Kyrie? That makes no sense. You're going to have Chris Paul, Kyrie, and Devin Booker? Doesn't make any sense. When you really think about these trades and these deals, none of them make a lick of sense, in my opinion. Kyrie's coming to Lakers. Again, maybe I have egg on my face when all is said and done, but I think he's coming. Thing is does the trade go straightforward? Is it Kyrie Irving for Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks, or is it a 3-team deal? There was reports yesterday that the Lakers and the Utah Jazz were having a discussion, and that Russell Westbrook would be going to the Utah Jazz in exchange for some pieces, right? Whatever that was. We just know that they had a conversation. Now, I don't really think that this was by accident, right? You have Utah and the Lakers having these conversations, and then an hour later, you hear that Kyrie Irving is available. I imagine that this is something that has been known. I don't think that this was just a random, Kyrie this very second requested a trade and now the whole world knows about it. I think that this was, Kyrie and the Nets were in these negotiations. The Lakers probably knew that they went bad. I don't see a scenario where LeBron James and Kyrie Irving haven't had a conversation. That's just me. Maybe they haven't, but I'm pretty confident that LeBron and Kyrie have had several conversations along the way, and I'm sure LeBron has told him, hey, come to the Lakers. LeBron has no issues recruiting players and trying to get players to come play with him, and he would be more than happy to go get Kyrie back. He's mentioned it. Kyrie's mentioned it. So if the Brooklyn Nets don't want Russell Westbrook, well, then they need to find a 30-team deal. So you imagine that Utah would take Russell Westbrook. They probably buy him out, most likely. That would be my guess. I'm pretty confident that that's how it would go. And then they would likely get the draft picks. And then the Brooklyn Nets would get the players and pieces in some type of deal. So my guess is it would be something along the lines of like Mike Conley, Jared Vanderbilt, and maybe Beasley. Maybe those three go to the Nets for like Joe Harris and Kyrie Irving. I would love if the Lakers could figure out a way to keep Beasley, right? So say Mike Conley and Vanderbilt to the Nets, and then the Lakers take, maybe Joe Harris, Beasley, and Kyrie Irving, and then maybe you add, Patrick Beverley to the Nets or something like that. You do something along those lines. That would be my ideal trade, because then you get a starting level shooting guard, which would be the only position we really need, a 3-and-D style shooting guard, and he's young, right? So you could get something along the lines of like, Kyrie, Beasley, Rui, LeBron, and AD as your starting five for the next several seasons. And then you still have, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Troy Brown Jr., Winning Gabriel, and Thomas Bryant. You're one of the best teams in the league. You're 10 to 12 players deep. You still have guys like Max Christie, Joe Harris, all of those things. Like, I just think that that's a home run. And then for the Nets, they get Mike Conley, who can come in and give you some of the production of Kyrie Irving. And his assist to turnover ratio is the best in the league. You get a young hustle type, small forward, power forward, and Jared Vanderbilt, who's also very young and could be a piece for now and the future. That might be best case scenario, right? Worst case scenario, if you're the Lakers, you just give them Beasley as well, and you try to figure something else out, and you get worst case scenario, you get Kyrie and Joe Harris, and you have whoever, you have Lonnie Walker or Austin Reeves play the two. Not a big deal. I'm okay with that, right? Even if your starting five is, even if your starting shooting guard is Max Christie, I'm okay with that, right? Defensively, he's great. And you don't need the offense. Whatever shooting and offense he gives you is just a bonus. Plus, he's shooting like 42%. So, like, even if like Max Christie is your starting shooting guard, and your starting five is, let's say it's Kyrie, Christie, Rui, LeBron, and AD. I'm fine with that. Like that works perfectly okay with me. And now you got that defensive shooting guard, which you're going to need because Kyrie isn't a great defender by any means. Rui has the size and the strength. He's just got to work on the foot movement and just positioning in general. But you have Anthony Davis, who's an absolute monster and makes you at least an average defensive team with him just because he's that good defensively. And then LeBron James, we've seen he can lock up if he needs to still. But you're going to be more than good enough to go contend. So, it's a mutually beneficial deal, right? Utah unloads some of their veterans. They get some free draft picks in the process. They're happy. Brooklyn Nets get some pieces that help them continue to contend. They're happy. The Lakers now become arguably the best team in the league. They're happy. And they're arguably the best team in the league for the next several seasons, unless some crazy deal happens. Kevin Durant goes back to the Warriors, or, he goes to the Suns and they're able to keep like Bridges and everything like that. Something crazy. Like, unless something like that happens, the Lakers are probably going to be one of the best teams, if not the best team for the next several seasons. Probably win a couple championships. Utah, they unload some of these guys. There were reports that came out from Utah side that Utah really wants to make a move for Jared Vanderbilt, and that it'll likely get done by the deadline. So he's got to go somewhere. Maybe that somewhere is the Brooklyn Nets, and then you get Kyrie. I'm totally okay with it. That is a complete home run to me. Lakers, Kyrie, Joe Harris. We need shooting, right? So taking on Joe Harris and his $20 million next season is not a big deal. And he's an expiring contract next season. So maybe you can move him next season. Maybe some team is like, hey, we got this guy for several seasons and we want to unload him. Like, let's get rid of him, and maybe you could get another piece. Let's say, some shooting guard isn't working out or something. Like, maybe you could use him and package him and, whatever. Like, or in the off season, you'd get another first round pick. Maybe you could package that first in a couple seconds and Joe Harris and go get another piece to add to your Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Rui Hachimura. That could work. So I think if you're the Lakers, taking on Joe Harris is a no-brainer. And that's kind of your one leverage over all the other teams beyond the points that I gave earlier. But like beyond that, like your one leverage point is we can not only take Kyrie Irving, but we can also take Joe Harris and his contract. So we actually are saving you money. And even if it is a straight up trade, right? Like that's also still a leverage play. Like, because if you just let Kyrie Irving go, you still are over the cap. But if you if you trade us Kyrie Irving and we take Joe Harris from you, well, then guess what? You're no longer a team over the cap. Now you actually have salary space to go and sign another player or two. And I mean, theoretically, the Lakers could just take all of their cap players. I don't think that happens, if I'm being honest. But, I mean, it is a possibility. Like, the Lakers could just, we'll take everybody. Like, let's make this happen. So that's something that I think is very interesting as well. But, yeah, if you're the Lakers, you get Kyrie Irving, you get Joe Harris. You send them Utah's pieces. They're happy. Utah gets what they want. They get draft picks. Danny Ainge was trying very hard to get both first-round picks, but they didn't want to give up both first for these guys. They'll give up both first for Kyrie Irving. And I think it's a mutually beneficial trade for everybody. Everybody gets what they want. Danny Ainge gets his coveted Laker picks that he can hope that are lottery picks. And then, the Lakers probably win a championship in the next few years. And then, you have the Brooklyn Nets who get something of value in exchange for Kyrie Irving. I think it's a good trade. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree? Yeah, I think it's a good trade, mutually beneficial trade for all three parties. Get the deal done. Do you think, my thing is, whatever it takes to get Kyrie, just go get Kyrie Irving. If it has to be a 3-team deal, figure out the 3-team deal. If you can do it straight up, do it straight up. Whatever it takes, but the end result is the Lakers landing Kyrie Irving. Let's do that. Let's make that happen. And again, I really think Kyrie Irving's coming to Lakers. But again, love to hear thoughts and opinions, however you feel about it. Let me know down